to Shapley 1 year later, wherever you are in the world, because air is a single system, wherever you are, every breath you take will have about 15 argon atoms from that one breath Joanna took a year before. So on that basis, Shapley calculates every breath you take has millions of argon atoms that were once in the bodies of Joan of Arc and Jesus Christ. That every breath you take has millions of argon atoms that were in the bodies of dinosaurs 65 million years ago. That every breath you take will suffuse life forms as far as we can see into the future. So air. That's why indigenous people tell us air is sacred. It's a sacred substance. It gives us life, connects us to all other life around the world, and connects us from the past to the present and into the future. Air is a sacred element. We say we're intelligent. What intelligent creature, knowing the role that air plays in our lives, would then proceed to use air as a garbage can? To think we can just pour our garbage into the air and it's going to diffuse away. We are air. Whatever we do to the air, we do to ourselves. And it hurts me when I see in the city, I see young couples with babies and they push them, they don't want to take their car, so they put them in a stroller and they're walking on the streets. But where is that baby's nose? The baby's nose is right at the level of the exhaust pipe of every car. You might as well hook up the baby to the exhaust pipe with a hose and pump that right into a baby's lungs. And why do we think 15% of Canadians now suffer from asthma? This isn't normal. We use the air as a garbage can. Whatever we do to the air, we do to ourselves. And that's what I've learned from First Nation people and interpreted it through what I know in science. And it's the same for the other sacred elements. We are, well, what could be more obvious? Every one of us is at least 60% water by weight. We are a big blob of water with enough organic thickener added so we don't dribble away on the floor. And, you know, our bodies leak water all the time. It comes out of our eyes and our nose and our mouth and our skin and our crotch, and we lose water all the time. So we have to drink water to top it up. Where do you think that water comes from? You think it comes from your lake here? Water cartwheels around the earth through the hydrologic cycle. Evaporates, forms clouds, rains on the land, evaporates. Water is constantly shifting all over the world. I hate drinking water out of bottles. I don't drink water out of bottles in the city, but you've forced me to drink it here. What on earth is going on in this wonderful area that you have to drink water from bottles and pay more for those bottles of water than you pay for gasoline? Something does not compute. We are not using water the way we should be. We are water. Whatever we do to the water, we do directly to ourselves. And we are the earth, because every bit of the food that we eat for our nutrition was once alive. And most of it is plants. Plants that grew in the soil. We say we're intelligent. What intelligent creature would use the earth to dump our waste and toxic material, indeed spray or even inject toxic chemicals into the animals and plants we're going to eat? We are the earth. Whatever we do to the earth, we do to ourselves. And we are fire because every bit of the energy in our bodies that we need to move and grow and reproduce, all of that energy is sunlight. Sunlight captured by plants through photosynthesis, converted into chemical energy. We then get that chemical energy by eating the plants or the animals that eat the plants, and we store that energy in our bodies. And when we need that energy to move or grow, we burn those chemicals and we release the energy of the sun into our bodies. We are the earth. The earth is our mother, because we are created out of the 4 sacred elements that come out of the earth. And that is my lesson that I've learned, and thank you. Thank you for teaching me that great lesson. And then the final miracle for me was to discover we are created out of the 4 sacred elements. Those are the most precious things that we have: earth, air, fire, and water. What creates those things, what cleanses those things, what replenishes those things, is the web of living things around the earth, what we call biodiversity. The air is created by all of the green things in the oceans and on land. Before there were plants, the air was poisonous to animals like us, because plants take carbon dioxide out of the air and put oxygen back in it. And it was only when plants evolved that the oxygen built up in the atmosphere enough so that an animal like us could survive. And to this day, it's all of the green things in the land and on sea that are taking carbon dioxide out of the air, putting oxygen back in it. That is a gift from the web of plants. The problem we face today with climate change is that we're burning too much fossil fuel, putting too much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and the plants can't take enough of it out. And of course, we're clear-cutting so much of the forests of the planet that now carbon is building up in the atmosphere and warming the planet. So it's plants that create the air we breathe. When the water falls to the earth, it's all of the plant roots, the soil fungi and bacteria that filter the water so that we can drink it. It's all of the plants and animals that are our food and that create soil. Soil was created by life. And it's all of the plants in the world that give us the fuel that we burn. The fuel not only for our own bodies, but if you think of wood or dung or peat or coal or oil or gas, all of those fuels are sunlight captured by plants that we then release by burning them. So the miracle of life on earth to me is that we are created by the four elements, earth, air, fire, and water, and the web of living things around the earth, who are our relatives, create those things for us to use. What a great gift from the rest of creation. When I was adopted by the Eagle clan among the Haida, I learned that to the Haida, they have eagles and ravens. They call them our relatives. Now you may think, oh, well, that's a nice way of looking at it. But one of the great achievements of the last century was called the Human Genome Project. It was a determination of the entire genetic sequence in a human cell. And the amazing thing that came out of the Human Genome Project was that 99% of the DNA, the genes in our bodies, is identical to the genes in chimpanzees. Chimpanzees are our nearest relatives. But they also showed that every one of us carries thousands of genes identical to the genes in our pet dogs and cats. Thousands of genes identical to the genes in fruit flies, in eagles, in salmon, in carrots. All of life is related to us, to our evolutionary history. And in the great act of generosity, all of our relatives cleanse, create, and replenish earth, air, fire, and water.